On today's episode, the Cubs make their first two selections in the MLB Draft. Who are they and what does it signal for the future? Plus, our home run derby and all-star game memories. Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We got the open right.
Yes, welcome back to Locked On Cubs. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. I think I've learned to be patient with the opening sounder. Maybe just click it the one time and let it run through organically. Don't try to double click. Just click it the one time. Let it marinate.
And before we get into the good stuff of this show, and it's going to be a positive show because I really like the Cubs draft, I just want to point out it looks like you haven't gotten a good night's sleep since the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962. Is everything okay with your end? Did you have a rough night last night?
Everything is good. I got to bed pretty late. I was pretty, excited about the future of this show, amongst other things. But I feel really good, actually.
Right. And in the Cary Crystal Lake area, there are barbers. Now, introduce what we're talking about.
Today, Sam, we're going to talk about the Cubs draft picks from Sunday. The Cubs selected not one but two pitchers, and both are highly connected, as you'll definitely get into, among other topics with this draft. First, it was number 7 overall, Cade Horton, a right-handed pitcher out of Oklahoma. And then in the second round, it was a left-handed pitcher out of IMG Academy in Florida, Jackson Ferris. I have some details that I could give on both of those guys. Just generally, Sam, what are your thoughts on this pair of pitchers being taken so early by the Northsiders?
Really excited. And here's why. First of all, from a strategic draft capital standpoint, I think what the Cubs did here was very savvy after reading and learning about it. Basically, what they did with Horton, that 7th overall pick, they took him at an underslot value, which gave them the value to go ahead and take in the 47th pick, Jackson Ferris. That was the purpose of that. So really think about it like this. It's almost like they traded the number 7 and 47 picks for basically the number 15 and number 20 picks in terms of value. That's kind of what they did. They took a guy at 7 that was probably a little bit of a reach, but obviously somebody that they really like, and then took somebody at 47 that people didn't want to take because he was going to cost a lot to sign, but the Cubs then had that signability because they took Horton early, if that makes sense. Yeah. So just from a strategic standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. Now, if you've listened to almost every show on here, at least one time per show, we talk about the Cubs' struggles with pitching development. But I think I haven't done a great job of emphasizing that is really a result of a poor job from basically 2016 or 2017 to like 2020. In baseball, like I was saying yesterday, you pay the price for bad front office work years ahead of time. So for example, right now we're suffering through mistakes between 2018, 19, and 20. Mm-hmm. We don't really know yet what they're doing right now, how much better they're getting right now, except there are some really positive signs right now. At the big league level, there's Keegan Thompson, there's Justin Steele, DJ Hertz got promoted. We'll talk about that. And Wicks got promoted. We'll talk about that. Caleb Killian came here as a virtual project, and he's risen up the prospect rankings, although he struggled at the big league level. Craig Breslow, who is a former relief pitcher, I believe he went to Yale, if I'm not mistaken, a really smart guy. He took over as the pitching coordinator for the Cubs in 2020. And I think these picks by Jed signal that they understand they have to catch up with the rest of the league pitching wise, and that they are starting to feel really good and positive about their pitching machine and their developmental machine. And I think it signals good things for the Cubs ahead. And we're going to talk about what it means for the system, but I'm not even talking about these guys. You'll give me the stats in a little bit. I'm not talking about these guys as pitchers, because at the end of the day, Matt, nobody actually knows how good these guys are going to be. It's the baseball draft. It's not like the NBA or the NFL.
Right.
But I really like the process behind it. I think it makes sense. I think they're doing some smart things, and they know that they need some high upside arms. And like I said, we're starting to see signs at the big league or at the lower levels now that'll translate to the big league level maybe in a couple years, where we'll go back and say, hey, remember when we were doing the show in 2022? They were starting to do a really good job. We just didn't know much of it yet. And I think this is a good sign pointing in that direction. So I like these two picks. They make sense. Usually the Cubs take position players. I know last year they took Wicks, but before that, in the first round, it was a big slate of position players in a row. And I think it signals really good things. And I'm intrigued about that. And I'm not just, I'm not just saying that because we're due to talk about something positive on this show. I'm saying it because it's genuine. I like the thought process. And what else can you say?
Let me tell you a little more about Cade Horton. 6'1", 210-pounder, just 20 years old. He's an early eligible guy out of Oklahoma because of his birthday. He's a two-way player at Oklahoma. Right. That's very intriguing. I know we'll get into that a little bit. Played a lot of shortstop, played a lot of third base this past spring. Missed all of the 2021 season due to Tommy John surgery. Came back this year as a two-way player. Didn't actually pitch much in the early spring, but then started to ramp it up more. Has a fastball up to 98 miles per hour. Again, the Cubs don't have many guys with that type of profile. Has a plus slider. And for a guy like Horton, who projects as a starting pitcher, he is due to add a changeup or a cutter or splitter, something along those lines. And he was outstanding in his 4 to 5 outings to help lead the Sooners to the College World Series. And then there's Jackson. Oh, go ahead.
Let's just stick to Horton for a second.
Yeah.
So he was a two-way player. He's not going to be that in the big leagues. I think that the intriguing part of that is I don't think he was focusing that much on pitching. And I think with more focus towards pitching and getting that other stuff off his plate, the Cubs like what they see. And yes, he soared up the rankings in the College World Series, soared up the rankings in those 5 or 6 starts. And I think the Cubs are looking at this like saying, hey, we wanted to take somebody under slot value to get Mr. Ferris.
Right.
And this is a perfect guy for it. It's a high upside arm. There's a lot of unknowns there, but sometimes unknowns could be positives. Like there's probably a lot of things to unlock. I actually think in a weird way, it's kind of a positive that he already had Tommy John surgery, because so many guys are getting it at this point. Totally. You might as well just want to get it out of the way early.
Yeah.
It's definitely raw. It's definitely a project, but like
he has low miles on the arm.
Yeah, in these drafts, who isn't a project? Some guys are less of a project than others, but everybody's a project in the major league draft. He's a 20-year-old pitcher that we've barely seen. But don't listen to David Kaplan and these guys that say, oh, the Cubs just took a guy with a 4.86 ERA. That's not. The Cubs identified some skill sets that they really like and they feel like they can maximize. This young man was one of the best pitchers down the stretch in baseball. A lot of people had him as the top college pitcher in the draft. Now, that's not a huge thing to say because it was a weak college pitching draft, but still there's a lot of upside there. Let's keep him healthy and let's let Craig Breslow and this, we've talked about this so much on the show, the Dodgers, the Rays, the Brewers, etc. Let's start becoming machines and developing pitching machines. And let's see what we can do with these two guys. Obviously they have a lot of talent. We're about to talk about Ferris, but I'm excited about this. You know me, Matt, I like things that make sense in my head. This makes logical sense. Let's give this kid a chance. And, he's got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily cherry pick the 4.8 ERA. So I'll do the same thing. I'll cherry pick my information as a diehard Cubs fan. Just in June, in those 4 outings, he struck out 40 and walked 4 with a 2.8 ERA. That's in crunch time. That's in high leverage situations. That's winning baseball. Okay. Right. And his fastball and slider, from what I've seen on video, hugely plus pitches. And the slider right now, especially the high slider, is in. Right. I see this every weekend in travel baseball. And look how many high school guys, by the way, are getting drafted. We're going to talk about Jackson Ferris in a minute.
And there's a base hit by Horton to right center field. Contreras is going to be waved around. The losing streak's over.
That's right. The Cubs didn't lose 10 in a row on Sunday.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
But I'm excited to see what Horton can do, and we'll talk later in the show how he fits into the larger elements of the system. So the Cubs 47th overall, Sam, picked Jackson Ferris, a left-handed pitcher, a high school pick, IMG Academy in Florida. As Horton was the underslot guy, again, we don't have bonuses yet, but as Horton is the underslot guy, Ferris is the overslot player. Some rankings had Ferris higher than Horton. And Ferris is a tall kid, big kid, 6'4", 200, fastball up to 95, and he needs to develop his secondary
Lefty,
stuff.
right?
But yeah, lefty. But these two in tandem, clearly you see where the Cubs are going, and a lot of upside with Ferris as well, who again, some had him higher ranked than Horton.
Yeah, and you see where the Cubs are going. The only negative you could say is that by the time these guys are ready, maybe the league overcorrects itself and it's not as pitching dependent. Maybe they without shifting, they move the mound back, whatever. But that's not the Cubs' job isn't to forecast those changes.
Right.
They got to take where they think is going to help them the most. And along with Ferris, like you said, I challenge Cub fans. I challenge Cub fans to look at this, not like the 7th and 47th picks, but like the 15th and the 20th picks. They're right there with each other. There's a chance Ferris could be better than Horton. We don't know. But again, high upside arms with velocity. I believe on Ferris, the numbers at IMG Academy are just stupid. I mean, like insane.
Yeah.
Which you would obviously expect
I'm sure,
to be drafted. To me, these guys check the boxes of a guys you want to draft. Now it's on the Cubs. Now it's on the Cubs to start developing those guys. They've done some good things. We've talked about it a lot now with these pitching that we're starting to see signs. They're not big signs. They're not billboards, but we're starting to see small signs that they're starting to get better with the pitching. First of all, you look at, like, even at the big league level, what they've done with the bullpen this year. I mean, I know statistically it hasn't been great. Wicks had some problems, but like you look at a guy like Scott Efros, they're starting to show a little bit of life, that they have figured this out a little bit, and that gets me jacked up. Okay, I know I'm going to wrap up in a second. All right, Johnny Carson, give me a sec. I know things are really tough on the day-to-day at the major league level, and it's our job to talk about that. But as we're about to talk about on this next segment here, I'm starting to get jacked up about the future of my franchise.
Let's talk more about that farm system next. But before we get to that, I want to tell you about Blue Nile.
Yes.
Make your engagement moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Cubs listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more using the code Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece of wedding bling. Go to BlueNile.com today and use the code Locked On.
We have some listeners that are close to engagement. They better use Blue Nile, or I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to support the program.
Support the program and get $50 off when you get down on one knee and propose to the missus.
Right, and support us on YouTube as well. YouTube.com/LockedOnCubs. Please subscribe.
Yeah, we need to get to 1,000 subs. We're 200 away.
Sam, a lot could be said about the Cubs farm system right now. If you just take those two picks on an island, you see two pitchers, okay? If I update us real quick, it looks like through round 6, either round 5 or round 6, the Cubs have taken exclusively pitchers. Only pitchers, which is wild. But it's really not wild.
They took one position player. Well, they took one guy. They took he's actually listed as both.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not that wild because the top 5 prospects currently in the system, as we did a prospect show last week, top 5 guys are position players. 18 of those top 30 are position players. So pitching is a need, has been for a while. When you draft almost all pitchers so far, it's not that big of a treasure hunt here.
This is one of the 5 best systems in baseball.
Wow.
This is one of the 5 best systems in baseball. Yes, I understand what is this system lacking. They don't have that shiny gold can't miss
Like the
prospect.
top guy.
Yeah, like a Chris Bryant, okay? Like
Sure.
that you're gonna draft. He's gonna be in the big leagues ASAP, and he's just a golden boy. They don't have any golden boys right now. Christian Hernandez may turn into one.
I
We don't
think
know.
so.
They have some guys that could turn into one. But what they have in this system, and now you're adding two guys that probably automatically will slip into the top 20 prospects in their system. These two pitchers would be my guess. Like when they updated them, and maybe by next year, a couple of more guys in the top 100. The depth in this system is as deep as any farm system in baseball. And what it's going to provide, folks, is this. This team is going to start spending in the offseason. They're going to be competitive. My guess, I said before the season that I guaranteed they'd be a playoff team in 2023. That obviously sounds a little bit asinine right now. But I have to stick by my guarantee. But I do think they're going to be very competitive. And then in 2024, they're going to be ready to win, ready to contend again. And then when they're ready to contend again and it becomes trade deadline time, so many of these assets you're going to be able to flip for some stars that help you win a division, go to a championship series.
Win that year.
And it's not going to impact, it's not going to be like trading Cease and Eloy for Quintana. It's not going to be like trading Glaber for Chapman, because the depth is going to be enough where they could stomach it. They could take that initial loss because they have so much depth in their system. It's currency, and it's very good, and I'm excited about it. Now, I understand people rolling their eyes. This team stinks. They're 34 and whatever. I get that. And we will continue to talk about the atrocity that is the 2022 Chicago Cubs, because it's our job. But as a fan and as somebody that's intelligent, we also have to separate that from what the real goal is here, and that's the future. And I'll be the first one to come on this show and throw a temper tantrum if they don't spend big money this offseason. They're going to. And when they spend big money this offseason, these guys are going to climb up the system. You could see the pieces. They still have, they're not even probably 10% of the way there. But you could see the pieces start to come together, and this draft gets me excited. This farm system gets me intrigued, and the Cubs don't play today, so I don't have time to be angry. I love Nico Horner, and I'm excited.
Yes,
by the way,
excited to talk more about him this week.
I DM'd him and asked him to come on the show.
Really?
Yeah, I did. A buddy of mine was at the game yesterday and shouted him out and said, "Hey, my friend's a new host of a Cubs podcast. You should come on sometime." And apparently he gave a thumbs up, but I think my friend could be full of it. So I DM'd him. We'll see if he gets back to me.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. That'd be the one guy I'd love to have on the show.
Even if he just gave the thumbs up, I think it's great. And I plan on ordering my jersey this week. How about you?
Yeah, no, I love Nico Horner.
Are you a medium or a large?
It's a great question. I'm like a medium. I'm really in between. I at this point, I'm probably a large if you consider washing machines.
Quick update or just a comparison to last year's draft, 21 to 22, with the first pair of picks, Sam.
Yeah, please.
Jordan Wicks went under slot last year, and the Cubs got James Triantos over slot in the second round. Those guys already 7 and 5 respectively in the system.
No,
so that proved to be a good package deal, just like these two arms could be this time.
No, Matt, I'm telling you, you have to be a fan in two perspectives, the current and the future. The current makes me want to do.
I think it's a great way to think about it.
Yeah. The current fan in me makes me want to literally take my head and put it through my wall. But the future.
Gonna have to clip that one.
The future has me very intrigued. It's again, there's still so much to go, but they have a plan. And when somebody has a plan and it makes sense to me, feed me. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'm doing the feed me sign. Zeke Elliott, feed me, baby, as he gets a gain of 3 on first down. It's gonna be second and 7 for Dallas from the 40. And by the way, not to switch up on this, but shout out to
Cowboys.
Shout out to the Locked On Bears. We could be the worst team in pro football. Carry on.
Bears 3-14 this upcoming fall, but that's a different program.
No, we're not talking about that.
So current, future, how about we go into the past a little bit next with some home run derby and all-star game memories. Today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. And we're supposed to get some Built Bar sent to us soon so we can even further promote this product and get involved and get excited about this thing. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given chocolate brownie chunk the Puffs treatment. That's right, the brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love and a deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness, but stop drooling and listen, they are good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all delicious. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, and get 15% off your order. Use promo LOCKED15.
That was outstanding.
This week is the home run derby. Yes.
Yeah, I want one. I want one sent to me, and I'm going to eat it.
Yes. Yeah, that might be all the food I eat this week.
And this Cubs team is going to win a World Series in 2025.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. I'm jacked up.
We're both very giddy today.
No, I'm jacked. You know what? I like let me be happy about what my team's doing in the future, because this week's an opportunity for me to be positive and give good vibes on the show. Once they start playing again.
Yeah. Right. Which we'll go over in an episode this week.
No, sorry, I took you out of rhythm. Get your stuff. Get your stuff.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Quiz me.
I will. Let's get to that in a minute or two. Okay. I did want to go over in order here. So home run derbies, Sam, over the years. Okay.
Yes.
Sammy Sosa, Cubs fans. Have you ever heard of him? Yeah. Okay. This week, I would love to do just a Sosa episode. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I have so many I'm not even trying to play games here. I have so many fond memories of Sammy Sosa, good old number 21. Okay, yeah, I was the
Derby.
What?
No, you cut out there, especially in the Derby. I believe the 2001 champion, and then he put on a show in 2002 at that time, brand new Miller Park. Go ahead.
Yes, he was in 4 straight derbies, won it in 2000 with a Derby record, 26 home runs at the time.
2000, sorry.
I would, after those derbies on those Monday nights, 4 years in a row, and all those games played at Wrigley and in a Cubs uniform, I was the kid who was doing the Sosa stance. I was the kid who was running out to right field. It was so energetic and exciting to watch a player of his caliber. And those home run derbies were exciting because it was Sosa and it was all the other legit power hitters, all the so-called brand names, which the last few years you haven't really gotten in Major League Baseball. Any home run derby memories for you?
The Miller Park one.
They replayed that one, I feel like.
Where he hit like 5 balls over 500 feet.
Jeez.
That was pretty awesome. Home run derby tonight, I believe 7 Central.
It is on ESPN.
And by the way, for the sake of it, I think Juan Soto surprises people tonight.
That'd be great. Future Cub Juan Soto.
Yeah, just a prediction. Go ahead.
7 Cubs made the All-Star game in 2016, including the entire infield. Obviously, that was a special year.
08, they had a lot too.
8 in 08.
Yeah.
And how about Sam?
So Matt told me. Matt told me he's going to quiz me, and I don't know what's coming. So here we go.
So the Cubs won in 08. They didn't really win again until 15. Yeah. So those all-star selections as a sandwich there, you could expect there to be maybe some oddness or some names you don't exactly remember. Okay. So in 09, the Cubs had 1 all-star. Do you remember who this all-star was?
So do you have all the 09 to 14 in front of you? Because I'd like to knock out some that I know for sure. Is that possible?
I do.
Okay. So I know Starlin Castro was an all-star during that time frame.
He was an all-star
in 2012 and 2000. He was an all-star in 2011, 12, and 14. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So we knocked that out.
Brian LaHare was an all-star in 2012.
Yes, he was.
And then by the end of the year, he was playing in a Japanese league.
That's true.
Okay. So I have that down.
Right.
All right. Now this is where it gets really hard.
Okay.
I don't know the years. I'm just trying to think. I know we don't have much time. Did Marlon Byrd ever represent the Cubs at the All-Star game?
Yes, he did in 2010, Sam. Unbelievable.
So I'm missing 09.
Yes.
What else am I missing? 13.
then-
Rizzo. Rizzo made one.
Yes, he made it in 14.
Oh, okay. So I'm still missing 11.
And then there's one other selection in 14, and then you're missing the 13 and 09 selections. So not much.
So I'm missing 3 guys.
Yes.
So 09. Was there a Derek Lee or an Aramis in 09?
No.
Oh, Giovanni Soto.
He was in 08. He was one of those 8 and 08.
No,
This
yeah,
is
he
a
had a bad year.
pitcher.
In 09.
Yes. A southpaw.
Oh, Ted Lilly.
Ted Lilly.
Yeah, okay.
Made the All-Star game
And
in
then-
09.
Did Travis Wood ever make the All-Star game that one year?
In
He was our
2013, Travis Wood made it.
Yeah, he was a representative. I remember that. And then I'm missing one guy from 14. So I got Rizzo, I got Starlin, and I'm missing a guy.
There was another player that year, yeah. Pitcher.
Yeah, a pitcher. Okay.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Who had a good year in 14? Dempster?
He made it in 08.
No, yeah, no. Who,
This is going to be a former football player.
Samardzija.
Jeff Samardzija, Sam.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Not bad.
Okay, a lot of exciting episodes.
That wasn't good?
It was great.
I did a nice job.
I thought you did a real nice job.
And by the way,
Sam's
naps
an encyclopedia of knowledge.
are not frowned upon, man.
All right, a lot of exciting episodes coming up this week. Be a part of it with us. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Cubs on YouTube as we make the push to 800, only a couple away, and then to 1,000. And follow along with us on Twitter at Locked On Cubs. And remember, you can leave us a voicemail or drop us a text, 312-834-4634. Thanks for making Locked On Cubs your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects with the very busy host, Lindsey Crosby. He's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. For Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.